What's up, you guys? It is Arhammer Music here, and in today's video I'm going to be doing my first ever album review, and that review is going to be over Fall Out Boy's 7th studio album, Mania. This is actually a really big one for me because this is my favorite band, and this is a new album that they're finally coming out with since American Beauty, American Psycho. So let's go ahead and get this review started. Alright, so one of the big things about Mania is that it's finally out now, and what I mean by that is that the original release date for it was in September, but for some reason, Fall Out Boy had to delay the album, and we all know what that reason was. The whole reason behind it was that the album was really not really ready at all yet, and the guys just didn't think that the album felt good enough to put out, which I 100% respect the fact that they delayed this album. I don't have a problem with it, but because of the delay, they had more time to work on the album itself. So is the album a piece of work that you could tell that they spent a lot of time on? That is the real question here, and we will be diving into it here in this video. One of the things that I really do not like about Mania and what they did with this album cycle before it was released, they released half the album before the album even came out. They released 5 singles, those being Young and Menace, Champion, Last of the Real Ones, Hold Me Tight or Don't, and also Wilson Expensive Mistakes, which they were touring with. And then finally, a week before the album released, they released that song. So honestly, I don't know why Fall Out Boy would do this. They gave us half the album before the album was even out. I don't think that that's a good idea for bands to do. You know, if there was more songs, if there was like 12 or 14 songs on the album, maybe I could see that. But there's not. There's only 10 songs on this album. This album is only 35 minutes long. So the fact that they released half of the album before the album was even out was kind of a ruiner for me. Also, let's talk about the flow of this album, because I feel like the Fall Out Boy's albums as of late have had a really good kind of flow to it. They don't really tell an entire story to them, kind of like My Chemical Romance's Black Parade, but they had a good flow to them. Each song kind of felt like it feeded off of the last one, and it had a good kind of, you know, experience to it. Mania, on the other hand, I don't want to say that it doesn't have a flow, but it really doesn't. It kind of reminds me more of like a 21 Pilots record than a Fall Out Boy record because of how it flows. If you listen to a 21 Pilots record, you realize that there's nothing that really flows together. No songs are like another one, and that's kind of the vibes that I get from Mania. There's 10 songs on it, like I said, and those 10 songs, none of them sound alike at all. It's like they pushed out something different in every single one of them, and for some people that's a good thing, people that's a bad thing. Like for me, I think that that's probably a good thing. It shows that they can actually branch out and are able to do these things, or able to go out and experiment with things. I feel like that Mania was really more of a experimenting kind of thing than them saying like, okay, here's an album that we're putting out that we are dedicating it to, you know, like we've put all of our time and work into it. I feel like that this is more of an experimental thing. It feels like they were experimenting with a lot of different genres in there, so I don't know, that's just my thought on the flow of the album. I do like it. I just think that some things could have been placed better than they were. So now I want to go through the record one song at a time and actually dive deeper into the record. So the first song that I want to look at is Stay Frosty, Royal Milk Tea. This is the song on the physical copy that kicks off the album, and I've got to say, I am a fan of Stay Frosty, Royal Milk Tea. I know that a lot of people, when the album came out, they actually really liked it as well, and it's one that's stuck with me, one of my favorites from the album still to this day. And yeah, I just feel like there's a lot going for this opening song on this album. I feel like that, you know, the vocals are really good, you know, the lyrics are really good, the beat of the song is really good, you know, you get that guitar, you get that bass, you get the drums in it, and I don't know, I just think that this is one of the best songs on the album, really. One of the main things about Mania, though, that I've realized, and some songs on the album do it more than others, and some it's more annoying than the others, is that there's a lot of repetition within the songs. But it's okay. Stay Frosty doesn't really do it that much as some of the other tracks, but yeah. So I think that my favorite lyric in Stay Frosty, Royal Milk Tea is the only thing that is stopping me is me, and that is in the chorus, and I think that that is just a beautiful line, And it really is. The only thing that's preventing you from doing your best thing is yourself. So Stay Frosty Royal Milk Tea, I think, is a great way to kick off the album. And it was a great track to roll into the next one, which is The Last of the Real Ones. Now, this was one of the singles that was released for this album, and I liked this song when it first came out. It was, I think, one of my favorites of the singles. So I love The Last of the Real Ones. I think it's such a great track. I did get to hear it live at the Fall Out Boy concert that I went to on October 20th on the Mania tour. It's a good song overall. I mean, there's not much that I don't like about it. This song really gives me Fall Out Boy vibes. Some of these songs on this album don't really give me those Fall Out Boy vibes. Most of them don't. And The Last of the Real Ones really do. And, you know, just the beat of the song is so catchy. A lot of these songs on this album are super catchy. These are going to be songs that literally, once you know, are going to be driven into your head to the point where they're going to get stuck there. You're going to be catching yourself singing these lyrics when you're at work, when you're at school, wherever you are. These lyrics are gonna get stuck in your head even if you don't want them to be. But yeah, so The Last of the Real Ones is a great track. I don't know if there's like a favorite lyric that I have from it, but I really do enjoy the track. The next track, the third track on the physical copy, is Hold Me Tight or Don't. Now this is one that I was actually a little bit iffy about when it first came out, but the more I listened to the song, the more it grew on me. I'm actually really happy that this song grew on me as well. I think that it's got a very different twist for Fall Out Boy to it. It does not sound like Fall Out Boy at all, but it sounds like it's a track that people are having fun at. It's a track that I could see being played at places like, you know, maybe like a party or a dance or maybe at a bar or something like that. And, you know, people would not mind that this song came on. I think that the Hold Me Tight or Don't is a good song. You know, there's nothing in it that I really don't dislike. I think that for a lot of people, this is probably going to be their favorite song on the record. And for me, it's up there with them, but it's not my favorite. But by far, it's not my least favorite. Hold Me Tight or Don't is a pretty good track. It's got a very catchy, you know, once again, very catchy lyrics to it, but it's a good song. Now, track number 4 is Wilson, Expensive Mistakes. I think that, you know, this one gives me the vibes that it's most Fall Out Boy, especially from American Beauty, American Psycho, Fall Out Boy than anything. But yeah, Wilson, Expensive Mistakes is probably a closer song to my heart than it is other people, because I was one of the first people that got to hear this song because of the Mania tour and our first tour date, and it was the first time they ever performed it in front of anybody. So I really think that this song is a great song. Like I said, gives me the most Fall Out Boy vibes. It's got good drum, good guitar, good bass, great vocals, might I add. I think that my favorite line in this song is "I'll stop wearing black when they make a darker color." Just because it's like, I don't know why it's my favorite song or favorite line from the track. It's just a good line. Also, I love the line, "If I could get my shit together, I would run away and never see any of you again." I think that just overall, this track is such a good track, and I'm glad that they came out with this track, because I almost think that it is, like, I don't want to say the saving grace of the album, but it is a great song, and I'm glad that it's in the first half of songs. I do believe that the first half of Mania songs is a lot stronger than the second half of Mania's songs, but it is what it is either way. Track number 5 on the album is Church. Church is a song that actually gives me very mixed feelings about it, kind of, in a way. I like Church. I like the lyrics to Church. I do think that the line, "I'll get on my knees," is used way too much in this song, to the point where it's almost a little bit annoying. But honestly, the vocals are still good. The beat of the song is still good. One of my favorite song lyrics of all time is in this song, and that is, "If death is the last appointment, then we are all just sitting in the waiting room." I love that line. I don't know why it has stuck with me as much as it has. Maybe because it's kind of true. If death is the last appointment, then we all really are just waiting in the waiting room. So I do think that this song is good. I think that it could have been better. I think I had more higher expectations for it, but it's not the worst song on Mania by far. Next song is Heaven's Gate. Heaven's Gate is a little bit more of a slowed down Fall Out Boy song, which we really don't get a lot of. Really, the last, like, slow beated Fall Out Boy song that I can really think of is really probably What a Catch from Foley. But this is a very much slower song than all of them. It starts out with amazing vocals from Patrick coming in, and honestly, I like it. I think that it's something different from Fall Out Boy. I don't see myself listening to it a ton, or I really don't find myself listening to it a ton, or unless it's on the record, because I don't skip any songs, obviously. On the record, I listen to it all the way through. But yeah, I don't know. Heaven's Gate is a good song, but I don't know. Heaven's Gate is a good song. Not my favorite from the album. I wouldn't really consider it a least favorite. I wouldn't really consider it a favorite. I'd consider it right in the middle. I think that it does have a good beat to it, and I think it's different from Fall Out Boy. I do have a favorite line in this one, though, and that is towards the end of the song, there is a line that says, "You are one habit that I just can't kick." And I think that that's a good, like, little lyric thing to add there, because when somebody's in love with somebody, it really is like that they are one bad habit that they can't kick. No matter how bad maybe the relationship is or anything like that, they just cannot get away from that one person. And I think that we've all experienced that in our life, that there's one person that, like, we can't get away from. And I think that that line right there just speaks a lot of truth to it, and I think that's why I connect to that line so well. Track number 7 is Champion. This is a song that was released early on into the Mania's development. And honestly, Champion is okay. Like how everybody else has said, Champion really feels more like a Centuries Part 2. I will admit that I did enjoy this song more when I saw it live than I do listening to it. But, I mean, Champion's okay. It's not the best song that they've ever put out by far. Not the worst song that they've ever put out. It's just very repetitive. The chorus is... This is one of those songs that I was talking about where the chorus gets repetitive, or like certain lines get repetitive. Like If I Can Live Through This, it's very repetitive. I loved the song when it first came out, but the more and more I dove into it and tried to listen to it more and more, it just in the end got annoying, and now I just feel like that I've overplayed it to a point where I don't like it as much. And that's not Fall Out Boy's fault at all. I don't think that's more my fault from playing it so much. But yeah, I mean, Champion is an okay song, I guess. It's good. I like the meaning behind it. I think that's why I listened to it so much when it first came out, is because talking about, like, if you can live through whatever is hard going on in your life at that time, you can live through anything. And, you know, I think that those lyrics really hit home, and I listened to it to death pretty much, and now I don't really go back to it that much. Sunshine Riptide is another song that is really split between the Fall Out Boy community. I personally like Sunshine Riptide. I think that the bass in it sounds amazing. It's got the most bass out of any Fall Out Boy song in recent memory. Throughout, like, the vocals, the chorus, the bridges, whatever, throughout the entire song, it is all bass pretty much. Patrick's vocals at the very beginning of it kind of seem like that it's a rap kind of thing. But, I mean, it's okay. I think that Sunshine Riptide is a pretty good song. I like the little, like, reverse thing that they have in it. Like, the sign says, "Don't you tap the glass," but I read it in reverse, and then it actually says that in reverse. I think it's pretty cool. I don't know. I think that Sunshine Riptide is a very different twist to Fall Out Boy's discography, but I think that it's good. I think it's different, and I think that them showing off that they can do all these different things within an album is a good thing. I like it. Not my favorite Fall Out Boy song, like I've said for a lot of these tracks. It's an okay song, and I do find myself coming back to it more than a couple other songs on this record, like Champion and stuff like that. Now, track number 9. Ooh, this is going to be a fun one to talk about, because this is Young and Menace, one of the worst Fall Out Boy songs that has ever been released. Yes, I said it, and I know that a lot of people have already beat Young and Menace into the ground, and I really don't want to be that person that continues to beat the dead horse here. But Young and Menace is not good. I mean, it's grown on me a little bit. I do have, like, a little bit more of an appreciation for it. That chorus, though, is just what absolutely kills it with the high pitches and stuff like that. It just goes on forever. I don't like that. I like the vocals themselves, though, within this song, saying, like, we've gone way too fast for way too long, and we were never supposed to make it half this far. I like that, but Young and Menace, all I'm going to say is it is definitely Fall Out Boy's worst song that they've ever put out. Coming in at number 10 on the album and rounding off the album is Bishop's Knife Trick. I think that this is a great closing track. I think that you hear all the elements from Fall Out Boy within it. You hear the vocals from Patrick, you hear the bass from Pete, you hear the guitar from Joe, the drums from Andy. I think that everything comes through on this song. There's nothing really that like sticks out that's super annoying in this song. I think that it's just a really good closing track, a good kind of like fight song, might you say, to something, like saying like, you know, we've made it here, let's see how much further we can get, or something like that. That's really what I get from this song, and I think that it is a really good song. I don't think that it's going to end up being one of Fall Out Boy's more popular songs than some of the other ones on this album, but I do think that it's a pretty good closing track and a good way to close out Mania. Now, after going through song by song, you guys got to hear my thoughts a little bit about each song. If I had to say my top 3 favorite songs on Mania, I would definitely probably say that that's Wilson Expensive Mistakes coming in at number 1, Stay Frosty Royal Milk Tea coming in at number 2, and The Last of the Real Ones coming in at number 3. If I had to pick my least favorites from the album, I would probably have to say Young and Menace, number 1 by far. Heaven's Gate, just because I have not came back to it that much. And, you know, Champion, because I have overplayed the crap out of it. Now, it's not the worst song ever made, but I just have played the crap out of it. Overall, I think that Mania is a good album. If I had to give it a rating, I would probably give it a 4.5 out of 5, just because there is a lot more songs on this album that I like than dislike. It's Fall Out Boy. I'm a little bit probably biased towards it because it is Fall Out Boy. The problem is, if you go into this record thinking that it's gonna sound like Fall Out Boy and how they've sound more like from the past and how they've sounded recently and stuff like that, then you're probably not going to like this album, because it's not. Fall Out Boy sounds completely different in this album, and it doesn't really sound like Fall Out Boy, but I still think that the music and the lyrical content within it is still good, so that's why I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. If you guys have not listened to Mania yet, go ahead and give it a listen. I don't know how you guys haven't. Mania actually topped the Billboard charts when it first came out already. The band already tweeted out a big thank you and stuff like that. And yeah, so Mania, 7th studio album. I don't know. I think that this is going to be one that's going to be interesting to see if I come back to a lot or not. I think that when it first came out, I played it a lot, but since then I haven't really came back to all the songs in it. I've just came back mainly to those 3 songs that I pointed out. But like I said, 4.5 out of 5 I think is a pretty good rating for Fall Out Boy's Mania album. Alright, you guys, so that's going to do it for me in this video. I hope that you guys did enjoy this review. I know that it was a little bit harder to flow through for me because this was my first album review. I do have another one coming up hopefully this weekend, and that one is going to be over Waterpark's new album Entertainment. So if you guys did miss that, or if you guys are interested in seeing that, definitely subscribe so you do not miss it. And if you did miss it, go back and check it out because I think that it is a pretty good video. Also, if you guys missed the video before this one, I did a vinyl collection video. Go check that out. Subscribe so you guys don't miss any vinyl updates and stuff like that. And something that I did forget to say in that video is I am posting all of my vinyl collection up on Instagram as well, posting pictures of them as I get them. So definitely go follow me over on Instagram because that is where you guys are going to get to see it more so when I first get the albums, more than just in the update video. So with all that said, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. If you did, click the like button down below. Subscribe to see new videos, and I'll catch you guys in my next one. Peace.